This episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast is brought to you by Times Cineplex. Hey guys, it's Kev.
What's up? This is Naz.
I am Tibby.
This is Del.
And y'all know who this is.
And we are
The Wayang Crew.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
That's right, we're back this week with our review of Incredibles 2, but that's later on in the show. Let's kick things off with my first co-host. It's Del.
Hello.
What's up?
It's a long weekend.
It's a long weekend.
Yeah.
Most of us are going back to work on Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not tomorrow.
Nope.
No.
Why am I going back to work tomorrow?
I don't know. Because...
Public sector.
No.
I have no idea.
Are the banks open tomorrow?
Depends.
I think it depends on the bank.
Huh.
But most probably not, though, because it's a
Those who don't operate on the weekend probably
maybe.
not coming to work tomorrow.
Anyway, in case you're wondering, it is, of course, Hari Raya Adil Fitri here in Brunei Darussalam and around the region. So we're going to wish all our listeners who celebrate Hari Raya, Selamat Hari Raya.
Alright.
Yep, and which brings me to our next co-host. It's Tibby. He's back.
Hey, I'm back for Raya.
Back for Raya. This was a surprise, actually.
Yes, this is a surprise.
You kept it quite well hidden.
Only some trusted people knew that I was coming back.
Uh-huh.
Trusted people.
So we're not trusted
I
enough.
told you what.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to create some suspense there. I was trying to create some conflict.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly back
Drama.
in today's time.
Yeah. So
Aw.
while you're here, you made it a point to watch this movie that we're reviewing today, which is Incredibles 2,
Incredibles 2.
of which you're not really a fan of first
I
film.
mean, yeah, the first film was
What?
okay, but I wasn't like, I want this a sequel.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
this was not on your top 5 list for
it
2018.
It wasn't.
This is you just said what Kai said. He
What
doesn't like the first one as well?
No, I
Or
didn't.
he didn't
Yeah, it was just another
Yeah.
animated film.
All right. Anyway,
When did you watch it? Like when it came out or
Yeah, when it came out.
Huh.
we'll get more into that later on in the show for our full review of Incredibles 2. But first, let's get to the news. Did you guys check out the Dumbo trailer?
Yeah.
I
It's,
saw it, but do I really want to watch the Dumbo trailer?
You did not miss much.
Yeah.
Who's the director again?
Tim Burton.
That's why I didn't want to watch.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
I'm not a fan of Tim Burton.
Really? Edward Scissorhands?
No.
Batman 89.
Yeah.
He just made this face like...
No, I'm not a fan. It's just his genre is a bit not my. It's like
weird and wonky.
steampunk-ish.
Oh. Anyway, I checked this out. I thought, this movie has hope. It looks okay. It looks something like I would enjoy.
Yeah, it's only a teaser. There's nothing much to see. But Dumbo has this very weird big eyes again.
It's very cartoonish.
It's very cartoonish
Yeah.
and very Tim Burton-ish.
It kind of reminds me of the characters from Ready Player One. They all had like big
Oh, yeah.
eyes. Yeah.
Like for the ones that I saw on the thumbnail of the trailer, it looked dark, and that's probably why I didn't want to watch the trailer also.
It's not that dark unless you think about the part where did the mother die in the cartoon or were they separated?
I think they were separated.
That was like the
darkest part of
yeah.
that. Of
But other than
Right.
that,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it later. Maybe.
Did you guys see the pictures and some of the clips that came out regarding Wonder Woman
Aquaman?
2, Wonder Woman 2, which is now labeled Wonder Woman 1984. And the big surprise here is that Steve Trevor, Chris
why
Pine's
is he
character,
back?
He's back.
Why?
Because comic book characters never die.
But
Superman died.
And then he came back.
yeah, but one of the best parts in the first movie was because he died.
Yeah, and it was because of that sacrifice that he made that sort of pushed Diana to sort of unlock her full Wonder Woman-ness.
So this is before
Justice League.
Justice League.
yeah.
This is
Yes.
before this. Okay.
Yes. This
So-
is set in the 80s.
So she didn't know you can revive someone. Okay.
Well, there's some theories circulating the internet now, and they say that this might not be the original Steve Trevor. There are theories that go even as far as to say that this might be Martian Manhunter in
Oh.
disguise to sort of pull Diana out of hiding, because she goes into hiding after World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or maybe it's a flashback.
No, it's not a flashback, because he's wearing a fanny pack and everything. It's,
Oh, okay.
it's all very current to that era, 1980s.
okay.
But we'll just have to wait and see. That's coming out sometime next next year. Of course, also directed by Patty Jenkins, who we know is going to do a good job for this.
Hopefully.
You mentioned this earlier on, Del, about Aquaman, and we still haven't seen a trailer, although one was sort of promised last week to come out. Yeah, to come out in like a few days, but it never did.
Who promised that?
There was like some announcements, like, expect the Aquaman trailer, from
Really?
James Wan saying soon and all that. And
I thought James Wan said it's coming out San Diego Comic-Con.
that's kind of far away. That's like July.
Yeah.
That's still far away for a movie that's coming out in November.
Yeah. No, December.
Yeah. Still. Anyway, here's something that Del's gonna love. The Aquaman movie has been called extraordinary by the confident Warner Brothers.
Never mind, I'll let Del say it.
I don't want to say it anymore.
I'll say it. What else are they gonna say?
I don't know.
They said the same thing about
BVS.
Batman vs Superman, and there was some trinklings about Justice League, but it was sort of downplayed by all the things that were happening on the director side of that movie. I don't know how to take this report, this news.
I wouldn't take anything from Warner Brothers seriously at this point. They are trying to make so many movies, and none of them seems to be
working.
Yeah.
Here's something that we hope would work. Henry Cavill might be preparing to play Superman again. Now, this is because he Instagrammed videoed out him working out quite vigorously. And, it's led some people to speculate, hey, I think there's a next Superman movie in the works.
Did he have a mustache on the video?
No.
Then it could be Superman.
Or
any other action movie.
Yeah. Or he's playing a Mr. Universe kind of movie.
What?
So he has to... No, I'm just saying, like, he's bulking up. He could be playing something totally different, a biopic.
Maybe, but... do you want another Superman movie?
Sure.
Another Man of Steel?
Yes, but I would not say that it's definitely coming out until I see a trailer.
Or like a poster.
Not even a poster at this point.
I wouldn't mind another Superman movie.
Well, the first one was sort of like, I don't know, it was like okay, I'll sit down and watch it.
Yeah,
It wasn't...
it's time for them to, improve on that.
I think what they need to do is to get away from the Zack Snyder palette. Yeah.
Like leave that and sort of follow the Wonder Woman palette a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah? Matt Reeves, who's set to direct the standalone Batman film, says that he will be rebooting the franchise and replacing Ben Affleck. Now, this is, sort of a report. It's not confirmed yet. And he says he wants to feature a younger Caped Crusader.
If he's making the movie, it makes sense. Because it wouldn't be a nice thing to do to replace Ben Affleck.
I've said it on this podcast. I like seeing Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he plays that version of Batman as like an older, sort of, not, I wouldn't say washed up, but coming to the end of his, peak physicality.
Actually, that storyline would have been a better one if they had...
Someone to replace him.
No. I wouldn't replace him, but just that if they follow through, I would like to see what happens to Batman at the end of his, his Caped Crusading days. But then now that he wants to reboot it, it makes sense to go younger. But then how will it fit into the Justice, or how will it fit into the Wonder Woman universe? Unless they go back again, to the 90s. Because Wonder Woman now is in the 80s, so they could go 90s and introduce a new Batman.
That may be where Flashpoint might come in, and going on that, the Flash movie apparently, so they say it may adopt a Back to the Future style kind of tone. Now, I don't know what this means, but the fact that they brought up Back to the Future maybe indicates a bit of time travel. And also like the tone of the first Back to the Future movie, which was kind of like a light action comedy from the 80s kind of
Changing history and whatnot.
Yeah, which to me says Flashpoint. It's quite obvious at this point. I think it's something they should do.
But they are not doing Flashpoint anymore. I mean, they are not calling the movie Flashpoint.
They're not calling the movie Flashpoint. But essentially, the movie that they're going to make sort of is Flashpoint, but not Flashpoint.
I guess it's a good thing if you want to make a movie of Flash and you stay away from all these famous comic books run titles like Flashpoint. And just do something that has call it something new so that there's no expectation on the movie.
Yeah, and then you won't get any backlash from like the super fanboys who say, oh, this is like so far away from the source material. And Incredibles 2, which is a movie we're talking about on this episode of the Wayang Crew Podcast, has scored the biggest domestic debut for an animated movie ever. Now that's in the US, and it opened over the weekend with $180 million gross.
On what, the first 180? Oh, that's the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's the whole weekend.
That's a good number.
That's a really good number. I guess it's maybe a bit of nostalgia and, you know, because of the nice marketing that they did for it. Not revealing too much about the overall plot. I mean, you sort of saw the plot, but not everything as most movies now come up with. But we'll talk about more on that movie later on in the show. Oh, it's a shame Kai is not here today because he is, to me, the highest viewer of Avengers Infinity War among like our group. I think he's watched it like 5 or 6 times. I can't remember. Yeah. Well, if that's anything to go by, this bit of news would sort of inspire Kai if he was on. There is a guy who has watched Infinity War for 47 times.
What?
And he posted it up on Instagram and he hashtagged everything from the Russo brothers to Avengers. And the Russo brothers have responded by giving him a ticket to the premiere of Avengers 4.
Okay.
So there are ways that, Kai could still get in there.
Yeah. I thought they were giving him the 48th time.
48th ticket to watch
Infinity War.
Avengers.
Or maybe the 50th one. Like, do 2 more and then the 50 is free. I mean, let's sort of look at this at a cost perspective. 47 times. To watch a movie in the US would range anywhere between $15 to $20.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That's about $800 to $1,000 US.
Yep.
He must have memorized the lines and whatnot.
I would expect him to.
Yeah.
Better come out with something, otherwise you spend all that money.
Speaking of Avengers Infinity War, there were a couple of theories before the movie came out as to where Ant-Man might be or where Hawkeye might be. Is he in the movie? We haven't seen him in any of the promo material. Now, the Russo brothers had come out earlier before the movie came out to say that Hawkeye will not be in this movie, but that's because he's off doing something very important to the storyline, which will become very apparent in the next Avengers movie, Avengers 4. Now, as fans of the franchise and, the movie in general, we were okay with this. So we were like, okay, if Hawkeye's not in this, it doesn't really matter. But there are some super fans out there who have actually sent the Russo brothers death threats regarding Hawkeye's absence.
Crazy.
Death threats.
Again, this goes back
Maybe
to...
he's picking up Wolverine or something. I don't know.
Picking up Wolverine. That deal has not been signed yet, but I don't know.
It goes back again to the
Kelly
Star
Marie
Wars
trend,
thing. Yeah, this is crazy. Fans taking entertainment to another level, which is personal and kind of like becoming a menace to society.
And it's really unnecessary. Wouldn't you say?
It's very unnecessary, and it just boggles the mind that there's this group of people who have nothing better to do with their lives and to just keep trolling, I don't know, film actors and directors who they've never encountered or never met in their lives before. And to take it into that extent is just crazy.
Keyboard fundamentalist, that's what I say. Regarding Avengers, we're still in the MCU on this. There is an event that's happening now in Europe called CineEurope. Now, Disney and Marvel have, showcased the first of the Avengers 4 and Captain Marvel footage at this event in CineEurope.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, how unfair. It's time to send death threats to the Russo brothers and Marvel.
This is like a D23, it's another film festival where, for them to showcase what's coming up in the next year or so from Marvel and Disney. So they had screened some scenes from Avengers 4 and Captain Marvel. This is, of course, not new because way back in 2017 at Comic-Con, they screened like 10 minutes of Avengers Infinity War. They showed that scene where Thanos grabbed the planet, and reading it on like reports, it didn't make any sense, to see an author write, this is what we saw. Thanos grabs a planet and hurls it at the Avengers. Like, how? Also at CineEurope, now there was a poster which I shared on our WhatsApp group, I think, of like the supposed leaked concept art or the poster for Avengers 4, and it shows all the Avengers who are still alive in like these spacesuits. Yeah. So apparently, Hulk's new Avengers 4 look has been confirmed. Now, in that scenes where they showed at CineEurope, he's wearing like an armor thing with the grey suit.
Yep.
So
don't know what to make of it. It looks cool, but then there's no context to it. Why does he need to wear? To my understanding, Hulk can survive in space.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Why does he need a suit?
Because they're a superhero team and they need matching uniforms.
Right.
You know?
Otherwise, no one would notice.
Yeah.
It's just some random.
Random vigilante.
My question is, does Tony Stark have to wear that grey color suit over his armor?
Yeah.
They would just burn off every time he flew. Yeah. Howard the Duck, who is a character, you know, he's kind of obscure in MCU. We saw him in a post-credit scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And there was, you know, some rumors that, they're going to make a Howard the Duck standalone movie for this generation. But that was shot down by the Russo brothers and by James Gunn, who said, no, it's just a nod to the character. Lea Thompson, who was in the Howard the Duck movie from the 90s, says that she plans to pitch Marvel on a Howard the Duck movie.
Which will be rejected.
Because Marvel has never thought of this before.
Now, when asked, they said, would she be coming back to star in the movie? And she said, no, you know, I plan to direct it. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
I'm not going to act in it. I'm just going to direct it.
But anyway, here's the story.
No one wants it, I think.
I don't want a Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah.
I don't see how he would fit in the MCU. Unless it's like a straight up comedy. But then again...
Standalone, maybe.
Like super standalone. But
it's
he
like one of those filler episodes when you watch cartoons. And suddenly we'll fight with the big bad boss, and then it's like, okay, in the meanwhile, while we prepare for the final episode, you watch this movie. It has nothing to do with the actual storyline, but it's just...
It's just an offshoot.
Yeah.
They could do an animated one.
An
that
animated
would make
Howard
more
the Duck?
sense. Yeah.
Like for kids.
It doesn't have to be, but like a Pixar thing.
Or something in the vein of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But what story? It doesn't matter because I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, here's something that apparently is happening. The sequel to The Shining, Doctor Sleep, has casted Ewan McGregor to star in the film. He is supposedly the grown-up character of Jack Nicholson's kid from The Shining.
I've never watched The Shining.
Oh, so you only saw one clip of it in Ready Player One?
Yes, and then in 30 Seconds to Mars video clip of them trying to remake the whole movie.
I've seen The Shining. It's been a while since I last watched it. I'm not very familiar with Doctor Sleep though. Like, are you familiar with it?
I've never read it.
Never read it?
Nope.
I'm assuming it's gonna be a horror flick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you guys watched The Shining?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it was a while. It was like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a very
Should
old...
is it?
Yeah, watch it just so that you know what all these...
cultural references.
Yeah, all the references are about.
I'm scared.
It's not that scary. It's not that scary.
We'll
After
see.
By today's standards, it's not that scary.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jump scares.
Okay,
No.
we'll see.
It's just a lot of tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna check it out?
High chance.
Okay. Here's something that I want to check out. John Cena joins Jackie Chan in a movie called Project X.
What?
Yeah.
Project X sounds like a Hong Kong 90s action movie.
It kind of does. The WWE superstar and actor John Cena is teaming up with Jackie Chan for Project X. The film previously had the working title of X Baghdad. Okay, so the film actually features Jackie Chan as a Chinese private security contractor in Baghdad who helps to save oil workers when their refinery is attacked.
It's not pulling me to watch it.
How about this though? John Cena's character is a former American Marine teaching orphans in Baghdad, and the two work together as they discover the attack was part of a plan to steal oil from the refinery.
You doing that voice does not help with
You
selling
got
the
me
movie.
at the refinery.
Not interested.
Not interested at all?
Jackie Chan doing another Hollywood movie does not interest me.
Even if it was Rush Hour?
Yeah, the other one that he did, what's that?
The Foreigner.
The Foreigner. That one was okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see him do something along that line. So
Nah.
more than this with John Cena, which sounds like an action comedy, which I don't need.
I want to watch that. I want to watch his normal action comedy.
Oh.
Yeah. This movie, Project X, sounds like The Foreign Contractor. Yeah? No? Okay. Moving along.
John Cena.
I guess it's a better title than Project X.
We'll see how. I will see how John Cena does in Bumblebee first.
But he's a very small role.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a small role, I want to see if he's like...
Yeah.
He's improved as an actor.
Speaking of Bumblebee, the Bumblebee movie, which is coming out at the end of this year, will drastically reduce the number of Decepticons. Now, I think this is like a problem that we've sort of talked about, where there was just too many robots and characters, and you get confused because there's all these like millions of gears that are turning, and they don't even look like robots anymore.
They have mustaches.
Yeah, they have mustaches.
They
and
smoke
beards.
cigarette.
And cigars.
Cigars, yes.
Yeah. It doesn't make
Just
sense.
to differentiate which robot is which. Okay, he has the mustache because he's old.
Which means he might be wise? No? Now, director Travis Knight has said that the number of Decepticons is sort of limited to 3.
Good.
In this movie.
So there's Starscream.
Yes.
And I want to see some cassettes.
Yeah.
Soundwave.
And
we can do without Megatron.
Yeah, for this movie. Because because he would still be frozen.
Who knows these things? Like, who's to say where they are? They could be still, we went to see Camelot in the last movie with Transformers.
That's true. And that's still a movie, the last night, and that's still a movie that Tibby wants to see.
What?
Like
the whole Camelot
that whole
thing.
night fighting thing.
That was the selling point of me watching that movie.
I think then, if that's the case, you will find a crossover between G.I. Joe and Transformers appealing.
I do.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the Bumblebee movie, which I am kind of excited to see because I want to see a simpler version of the Transformers, which is apparently what we're getting. Now, if the Bumblebee movie succeeds, Paramount has said that it might do an Optimus Prime spinoff.
No.
Enough. Stop it. Unless he's like the truck from the cartoon. Then yeah.
A different theme.
I don't want to see Optimus.
No?
Somebody else. I would like to see Soundwave standalone, throwing out cassettes. With the what's that? The name of the?
I don't know.
There's the panther. There's the bird thing, and then.
But do you think they would make a standalone Decepticon movie? Like, should they explore that possibility?
No. No, I guess
know.
not. Logically, no. But I would like to see those cassettes. I'm just all about the cassettes. The names of Rumble and Frenzy are the small cassettes. One goes dum 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 on the ground, and the other goes. Wait, Frenzy goes what?
Don't they become like birds?
No. One's a bird.
They fly, right?
There are 4 cassettes.
Okay.
So one's the bird, one's the panther, or the
Jaguar
tiger kind of
something.
yeah. One is 2 of them are robots. So one can turn its arms into a jackhammer kind of thing and rumbles the ground. That's why he's called Rumble. The other one's called Frenzy. I forgot what he does.
Because he's always in a frenzy.
Yeah.
But Frenzy was the name of that character, the one that followed the president onto Air Force One.
Yeah.
Apparently that was Frenzy.
Yeah,
Apparently.
that was a horrible Frenzy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew Podcast. If you want to get in touch with us on the show, you can do so via our Gmail account. That's thewayangcrew@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course YouTube as well. And a special announcement, we've crossed 1,100 downloads. So now our downloads have overtaken our plays, which is encouraging, I guess, because people bother to have us on their phone and mobile devices.
Yeah,
Really?
that's so weird.
To download,
Yeah, you have the option of listening to it multiple times.
And we live in like your phone now, I guess.
Maybe
Inception.
Maybe it's because they fly around a lot, so they download.
Who listens to us? I'm wondering. Like,
I'm wondering
who's
too. We have a
Meet and greet.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling that most, like over 50% of the listeners or the downloaders are not from Brunei.
No, but we do have a high number of listeners who are Brunei based.
Okay.
But let's just do this really quickly. In the last week, we have had people from the US.
Hello, US.
Hello,
America.
Indonesia.
Apa kabar?
Brunei. Yo. Malaysia, the UK, India, Canada, and we had like one click from Kenya.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's encouraging, to say the least.
Thank you for downloading.
Thank you for
listening.
Thank you for listening. And if you want to listen to us more, help us to grow a little bit, tell your friends about us.
Share.
Yeah.
Whether we're funny or not.
Write to us.
Oh, we also had a spike in German listeners.
Oh,
Like in the last week.
what's the...
Das Vidanya. No, that's Russian, is it?
I don't know.
have no idea.
In the last week,
Yeah, that doesn't sound German.
14. That's Russian. In the last week, 14% of our listeners are from Germany. So thank you very much for listening, and hope you like the show. And do tell a friend about us if you want to help the show out.
Or if you want us to review a specific certain movie, write to us and let us know.
German movie.
As long as it has subtitles,
Yeah.
then we can definitely help you out. All right, we're going to kick off our review this week of Incredibles 2 with a quick synopsis from Del.
It is a continuation from the first one. Like immediately after the first movie, you can watch this one because it takes place like where the first movie ends. And I find that really refreshing. I thought it was interesting they took this instead of like forwarding. And at first when we heard they're doing a sequel, I thought it would be years down the line so that they would use back the same the voice actors. But they changed the boy, Dash. Yeah, because they needed somebody who sounds like still a kid. So now that the supers are back in public, they are wondering if they can be like legally fighting crime instead of vigilantes and shunned by the media and the government. So this person came in who is like a
mogul, like a media mogul kind of
guy, to give a suggestion that maybe the supers can and he and his sister can work together with the supers to give a different perspective on what supers do while they were fighting crime, because to the media a lot of destruction on public properties and all that, so they want to give a different perspective like from the point of view of the supers by putting camera on their suits so that the public can see what they see and what they are doing,
and sort of hopefully shift public opinion to the point where they're like, maybe having supers back is not a bad thing and we shouldn't ban them,
or it's necessary instead of whether or not they should exist.
So that's basically what we see in the promo material and the trailers for this movie,
right?
And we're gonna try and keep this non-spoilers before we move on to like full spoilers. I thought this movie, Incredibles 2, is an excellent follow-up to the first movie. In terms of originality, it's in the same vein of the first movie. Everything feels aesthetically the same, even though it's a 14-year gap from the first movie. But things look a little bit better, I would have to say. Like, technology has progressed, so far. And you do see it in some of the shots and, water effects and the explosions. It's good to see all the characters come back from the first movie, Frozone included. Even his wife makes an appearance as the voice. It's like, where is my... I'll be right back or something.
I'll be there in 15 minutes.
Or something along that lines. It's nice to see the family is not perfect. Like the Parr family is not perfect. They have their issues. Trying to cope with what's been happening with them as supers and how they sort of decide whether or not they can or can't use their powers. And more importantly, I think the gender role reversal between the first and the second movie is a good progression, because in the first movie, it was Mr. Incredible who was, sort of going out there and being Mr. Incredible again.
Yeah.
And in this movie, that's flipped over, and he's a stay-at-home dad.
Which also follows the formula of the first movie, whereby the storyline does talk about some worldly issues, and this reflects on the world today where women are taking more of a... like
a forward role.
A breadwinner's role. So, and the men are staying at home with the kids.
And we see Robert Parr coping with this, and he's on the edge a lot of the time.
And it does... I like how real that it gets from the movie, from the story, and also, but at the same time balancing that out with all the humor and the super family, the kids, and especially Jack superpowers, which I'll get into more later.
In spoilers. Tibby?
I don't know how to explain this without spoiling it. but in general, I agree. The movie is in the same line with the previous movie. Like it's just so hard for me. I like it. Okay, I like how the movie is made, but there are some things that I thought could have been better.
Okay,
for now.
All right, but overall, you would say that this is a movie worth watching and to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this an okay movie to watch?
Okay. So on that vein, we're going to move into spoilers now. So this will be a spoiler review moving forward. So full spoilers ahead. Like I said, I love this movie and I think, it's awesome. But I did have a small problem with the predictability of the plot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed very obvious from the first act of the movie when you meet certain characters. In this case, it's the media mogul and his sister who want to push supers out, which sort of leads you to sort of believe that it might be the guy who is the villain. Screenslaver, who's the main antagonist in this Incredibles 2 movie. But I sort of called it from the midpoint of the movie and said, I think it's
them.
It's the sister.
Yeah. No, actually, I thought it was the guy. What's his name? The brother.
Yeah.
I actually initially thought it was the brother, but then it was the sister. Okay, surprised. But
Wow.
But yeah, we kind of know that the villain is one of them.
I at first, when we first met them, I thought maybe he's the bad guy. But then I thought about Screenslaver, who knows a lot about tech. So I guess it was the sister.
Yeah.
Like from very early on as well. So yes, the predictability issue was there. There weren't a lot of not enough focus on the other supers that were introduced.
Like Void.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more interaction, I guess. But for what it was, I guess they serve the purpose of being there, even though they don't have a lot of screen time.
Because they very quickly fall under the control of Screenslaver, the villain.
Like, we didn't know how that happened. They just happened to wear those glasses.
One of my favorite new characters is a guy called Reflux, who's an old guy. And he has acid refluxes which come out as lava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, don't know if this is a medical condition or is a superpower. It's up to you to decide.
There's also the introduction of a new character called Void, who's a young teenage girl who looks up to Elastigirl. And there's this scene towards the end of the movie, full spoilers obviously, where they use these interdimensional travel portals in a way that I've never seen.
Yeah.
Because she keeps, missing. And she keeps having to put the portal there and shoot Elastigirl back up onto the plane.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was, it wasn't convenient like how we expect superhero movies to be nowadays.
Right.
Everything just, clicks and happens. There was some real struggles here.
But the character Void is another, I guess, a similar character to Blink from the X-Men and also Doctor Strange. You know how they use their powers to transport other colleagues during battle. It's okay. I don't really have any complaints about that. But I guess for Jack, he has so many superpowers that you don't know
how many.
What exactly.
Wait, there was the monster thing, there was the fire thing, there was
laser eyes.
It's like as if he can do anything.
Yeah, there was a teleport thing. He went to another dimension.
Yeah,
and then he could
split up.
He could self-replicate himself.
It's like he's he's the most super of them all, and I did not like that aspect of the story.
And I'm sort of surprised that Elastigirl, Helen Parr, the mother, didn't know that he had powers, because she was surprised like Jack has powers.
Yeah, she didn't.
It's like, I thought you would have seen it in the end of the first movie where he becomes he's being kidnapped by Syndrome,
right?
And he bursts into flames and he becomes the monster thing. He becomes heavy.
Yeah,
wouldn't they have been seen
I guess
no.
Maybe she didn't see that.
I don't
know.
I forgot.
She forgot. She's living in denial.
No. Jack is a nice baby.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. Apparently, the voice for Jack is still that same voice that we heard from the original Incredibles movie.
Right.
They use archived recordings of one of the Incredibles animator's son, who apparently, of course, now is like 16 years old.
Right.
But they had all these archived recordings of him laughing and for dialogue. So they use that, which is kind of nice. It's a bit of a fun fact. There's a character of Violet, the daughter, the eldest child of the Parr family.
Yep.
She goes through like this whole adolescence teenage dating thing where she's angry because the guy who she likes forgets who she is, and this is explained in the beginning of the movie. It's shown that he had his memory wiped by that I can't remember his name. Dickinson. Yeah, the guy who was looking out for supers. And then after the first act, it's revealed that accidentally by Miss Incredible that they erased his memory, and then she goes on this full like I don't want to be a super anymore. How could you do this to me?
So this is where I have a problem about this movie. Because it's okay, this is one of it. Like, this is typical teenage problem movie. Teenage angry at the parents movie. And then the father is now the one who's taking care of the kids type of movie. And then the villain, it's like watching Scooby-Doo. It's like, oh, okay. He's the villain, but he's not actually this guy who we met in the beginning, who's the nice guy. So I was like, they had 14 years to make this movie, but everything is like taken out from other movies. Like, okay, we should take that part and put it here. It's like I watched this before.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, there's nothing new about this storyline.
Ah, okay.
But from that point of view, I would also argue that it's nice to see, even though the family internal problems that they had as with the Parr family, like the kids are not allowed to use their superpowers. They have to keep them under control. They shouldn't put themselves in danger. They shouldn't go on missions. Until the end of the first movie, where everything seems to be okay. The parents are okay with the kids. The kids are okay with the parents. Yeah. And then immediately to this movie, where it takes you back to reality again, that, one day you can be everything is fine, rainbows and all that, and then the next day everything goes all berserk again.
Yeah.
And Violet's going through her teenage problems again. So I see that as a very nice storyline from a reality point of view. That a lot of things that you can relate.
Yeah, because they go through like real world kind of problems. The family's thrown back into a tailspin, and they're living in a motel at one point, and they only have 2 weeks left there.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Violet asking like, how long more are we gonna be in this?
So
it's motel?
a very real kind of situation. Even though they are superheroes, this is the kind of thing that we don't see from other superhero movies, except maybe Spider-Man. And I really like the part where Mr. Incredible brought Jack to Etna. That was like the highlight of the
was that. I mean, the movie is funny in a way. Like, I enjoyed the comedy. It's just that I feel a bit disappointed. Like, I've seen this type of movies storyline before. That's the only disappointment that I had.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I mean, I don't think they could have done something wildly different. My favorite part of the movie, well, Del sort of brought it up. That's one of the favorite parts where Mr. Incredible surrenders and he's like, Edna, please help me with this baby. And
she was reluctant at first until she saw the powers.
She saw the powers and she went, oh. And then by the next day, she's got Jack under, control, and he's walking with like a lollipop, and he's like her.
Oh, that was so good.
And my favorite part of this movie was the Incredicar.
Right.
It comes back. Which leads me to an actual question here. Like, it's sort of hinted at in the first movie that it's been 15 years since supers had to go underground, right? So I'm assuming at this point, everything would have been left as is, and his car would have been there, and as things happen in the real world, that car would have been impounded, I guess, and put into like lockup somewhere.
Sure.
How would a collector end up with like a car for a superhero? And all this while, he just sort of leaves it there, and he still has the remote somewhere? That was a bit of a...
No, like somebody stole the Iron Man suit recently, right? We don't know where it is now. It probably will come out like 10 years later while this guy's trying to sell it off or something.
Yeah, but in this Incredibles 2 movie, he had a remote where he could press a button and the car would come back.
Yeah.
Which we see in the movie. Yeah. That car also turns into a boat, which I thought was awesome. I like vehicles.
I like the bike better though.
The elastical bike?
Yeah.
The one that could split in two?
She destroyed.
Yeah.
Yes.
She didn't have to destroy it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, it helped the story. It helped the situation.
I thought it was cool. It's like skating with motorbike.
That was a cool sequence, that action sequence.
The whole train. Yeah. Okay, let's give our reviews for this movie, Incredibles 2. Del.
I will give it 8 cookies out of 10.
You guys are gonna hate me.
Sure.
All right, Tibby.
6.5.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That's not so bad.
6.5 laser beam eyes.
Laser beam eyes. 6.5
out of 10.
I would give this movie 8.5 Jacks because he duplicates now out of 10. Yeah, it's an overall good time, and I think it's a worthy sequel to the first movie. I don't think it quite lives up to the first movie.
No.
But it's
almost. It's close, right?
It's close. It's really close.
And it's still a better Fantastic Four movie than Fantastic Four.
Than all the Fantastic Four movies.
My favorite character is still Frozen. I liked him from the first movie, and I still love him in this.
Yeah. We get to see more of him, more of his powers, and they're not as cool. This is so cool because
he tried to stop that ship.
Yeah, there's a sequence in the movie where there's a train that's derailed.
Yeah,
and he makes like ice tracks for the train, and this is going back again to what we mentioned before about technology progressing and the ice effects now. The ice really looks cool, and it's not just like snow from the first movie. But from the Wayang Crew, this movie is a movie that we recommend, and you should check it out because it's still showing. Bring your family, bring the kids because they'll enjoy it as well. Seeing like Jack on screen.
As long as they don't
bring the
scream.
kids when I'm there.
As long as they don't scream.
I had a kid behind me, so
same. I had mine who kept putting his resting his arms on my seat.
Oh no!
But guys, it's a kids movie.
Yeah, still Toys R Us is a place where they sell toys, but I don't want the kids running around.
Fine. All right.
When I'm shopping Lego.
Control your kids if you bring it.
Yeah.
So that concludes our review of Incredibles 2. Go check it out. If you haven't, it's a great movie. Which brings us to our next bit of the show, which is...
Oi, apa liat-liat? Apa liat-liat? Hoi, kan semua kan? Apa liat-liat?
Apa liat-liat? 你看什么看？
Apa liat-liat? See what see? Xiao liao.
Yep, that's right. It's Apa Liat Liat, and it's what else we've been watching besides Incredibles 2. Let's start off with Del.
See what?
See what?
I am catching up with Mission Impossible.
Uh-huh.
I've seen the first 3 now, and
Was it
before
still
the
bad?
7th, huh?
Was the first 2 still bad?
Yeah.
The first was like okay.
First was more of a drama because it's Brian De Palma.
It was a thriller, kind of like, ooh, what's happening?
Which isn't really a Mission Impossible feel.
The second was
one
John Woo.
Is like a Hong Kong action movie with cheesy lines and cheesy scenes with slow-mo close up with the faces.
With doves flying. For no reason.
Yep. It's horrible. It's the worst. It doesn't even feel... The first 20 minutes when Tom Cruise was making Gaga eyes with... Tandy
Newton, yeah.
It didn't even feel like it felt more like 50 Shades of Grey than a Mission Impossible.
Well, I've never watched that either, so I wouldn't.
I haven't watched it too, but I'm assuming this is 50 Shades of.
Okay.
Oh,
so
the whole motorbike chase for Mission Impossible 2.
Was this the one he stopped and then wheelied forward and then turned?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the one.
That's John Woo.
That's John Woo for you.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise fights like he knows Kung Fu for some reason. It's just so bad.
Okay.
It's just bad. It's not a Mission Impossible movie.
And then 3, which is directed by Brad Bird.
Yes.
Also who directed The Incredibles 1 and 2.
And 3 was very good.
Yeah.
3 was like one of the best, I think. Because
3 was the one with Rabbit's Foot.
Yes. Rabbit's Foot with
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He was a very good villain. Very, very good. Yep. So that's the 3.
Then we've got 4, which is Ghost Protocol.
Yep. J.J. Abrams.
Wait, no.
J.J. Abrams did the 3rd one.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams.
So Brad Bird is the 4th one, which I'll watch next.
There you go. All right. Yeah, that's coming out next month. Mission Impossible Fallout.
August.
Yeah. So, we see, of course, Ethan Hunt back with his crew. And
I'll be back.
You'll be back?
You'll be back,
I think I'll be back.
What?
Ah.
Wow.
We'll see.
It's like you never left.
Yeah.
All right, Tibby, apa liat? See what? What have you been watching?
I have been watching a Korean series on Netflix.
Oh, no.
Called Hwarang.
Okay.
What is that?
It's loosely based on their history. It's not exactly, what is told in the history, but it's loosely based on that time era where the queen hid the king when he was a child because she didn't want people to assassinate the child king. So now he's an adult. he wants to become king, but then the queen decides, you're not ready. So they made this elite training camp for elite kids.
Korean Secret Service!
Official sons, like the queen's official sons will attend this training. So the queen can control them. Like, it's like they're hostage now because I can control your kids, so you have to follow my orders. So the king secretly entered this camp called Hwarang.
Okay.
And
I only have one question.
What?
Is there a training montage?
I think there is.
Oh my god. That was a joke. I was kidding.
Not okay. I think there is. The reason why I watched this initially was because I had one of the actors was one of my favorites, character in Running Man, the reality TV series, Guangsu, and then I ended up, this is actually not a bad movie.
Not bad.
I'm one episode left in finishing.
So you're saving it, or
I just didn't have time. No, I'm gonna watch it on the way back.
Okay. Speaking of not having time, I have not watched anything this week. Because I just got back from a short trip across the border yesterday, and it's been a busy week. Also because it's Hari Raya.
Yes.
And once again, wishing all our listeners who celebrate Hari Raya, Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Yeah. So do join us next week. What are we doing next week, guys?
I think. Wait. No idea.
Wait, there's Ocean's 8.
Did any of you watch it? Because
I have not. I'm gonna watch it later.
Okay.
So
maybe a mini review
we can
of
talk
that?
about Ocean's 8 next week, but I'm sure there's something else coming out.
It
It is summer after all.
Yes, it is summer, and we expect to have a movie every week now, if I'm not wrong. Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out
Is that next
4th
week?
of July, 2 weeks.
2 weeks
three
from now,
weeks
yeah.
to go, yeah.
So you guys can do Ocean's 8 next week, and then Ant-Man the next week.
You know what we should do? We should do like a Mission Impossible sort of dive in for all the movies before Fallout. Let's think about that. Anyway, so that's the episode this week for the Wayang Crew Podcast. Thank you once again for listening. And like I said before, do tell your friends about us.
And, drop us a message on Instagram or something.
Yeah. All right, from the Wayang Crew, this is Kev signing off. I'd like to thank my co-hosts Del and Tibby. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.